holy shit, been stuck in 4 too long, or holy moly, I am doing 1 activities nonstop. I'm starting to feel overwhelmed. I'm starting to feel disconnected. What can I do to get me back in 3 and 4? So it's a process. We walk you through a process, a map, so that you know you have these tools specific to you so you can create balance throughout all 4. Hey guys, I just wanted to take a quick minute to share a little message with you. I'm super passionate about creating the very best YouTube channel that I can, that Scott and I can, to share our wisdom, insights, experiences, knowledge with you to help you on your journey of spiritual growth, of finding clarity and more balance in your life. So if you could do me a huge favor, if you enjoy our content every week, if it brings value into your life, if you could please remember to like and subscribe, click the little red bell so that you're notified when we put a new episode out each week, and then comment. Let us know in the comments if the content is valuable, if there's something in there that is said that resonates, if there's something in there that helps, if there's something in there that you're like, wait a minute, I want to dive a little deeper into this. Let me know in the comments. And if you have any ideas for what would be helpful for you on your journey to becoming more whole and finding more peace in your life, let us know in the comments. We'd love to make some more content for you. See you on the other side. It's always so weird starting these videos every single week because I don't want to sound cheesy, but I want to welcome you to this episode in some way without sounding cheesy. So I guess there's my intro. Welcome without sounding cheesy.
That doesn't make sense, but yes, welcome.
Welcome to this week's episode. We are still on the Quadrant Theory mini-series class. We have gone through what the Quadrant Theory is, Quadrant 1, Quadrant 3. Now we're going to hop up to Quadrant 4. So in this week's episode, you're going to learn all about what Quadrant 4 is, how to tell if you're balanced or imbalanced in the quadrant. We're going to give you some exercises and activities to activate your Quadrant 4. We're going to tell you how you can utilize this in your life, all the really good stuff. 4 is my favorite because I'm a natural born Quadrant 4. And so I really love this quadrant. However, I also have experienced in my life the complete imbalance of Quadrant 4. So we do these videos to help you understand that it's never about one is better than the other, or, you know, we want to stay here all the time, we want to stay there all the time. Our message is that it absolutely requires all 4 of them, and it absolutely requires balance in all 4 of them. So would you like to start with some of the characteristics and attributes of Quadrant 4?
No.
Okay. So basically,
since you are a Quadrant 4, you might as well go ahead and explain what a Quadrant 4 is.
So to describe it using my spirit animal, I would say Quadrant 4 is the owl or the crow. They're both highly spiritual animals. They're both my spirit animals. And so I think that there can give you a sort of picture. It's sort of the aspect that is the universal you. So if we look at it through the 4 levels of consciousness, it would be the as-me level of consciousness, meaning it's the unity consciousness. So if the polar opposite is Quadrant 2, which is I am here, you are there, you are objective, they're 2 separate people. Quadrant 4 is the complete opposite. It is literally the quadrant of unity. It is the universal you. It is the very abstract thinking. It's still the masculine, the mental plane in space, where Quadrant 3 is the emotional, more emotional, because you have love. It's the more feminine aspect in your body. Quadrant 4 is more of the mental plane. So if any of you out there study the Hermetic principles, the first Hermetic principle is the universe is mental. All is mind. So this sort of encompasses Quadrant 4. It's the mind of God. It's the unity of everything. It's wisdom and discernment. So you're able to see through the perspective of wisdom and discernment while maintaining compassion for everything that happens in the 3-dimensional world. So you can think of Quadrant 4 when you're in meditation, when you're in, it's actually the flow stage of the flow cycle, which means it's the immersive style of paying attention. So it means you lose all sense of who you are as an individual. You completely are immersed in the activity. So If you are a writer, you'll know that all of a sudden you go to sit down and you go to write, and it's as if it is absolutely flowing through you. Like you are not, your ego, yourself, who tries to write words on the page is completely gone, and the words, it's as me. The words are coming out of you and they're flowing onto the page. You can't try to access, you can't try to do this. It happens to you, our complete connection with the all of everything. Did you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, it's kind of like channeling. I mean, channeling is a great example of what that is. Like you were saying, a writer. So channels, they get out of their way. You get step out of the ego. The I am.
That's a great.
Right.
Yeah.
And then you know, so meditators. So for me, my Quadrant 4 looks like this. My Quadrant 4 is when I meditate or I do breath work or even in a ketamine journey, I lose my ego and I feel whole. I feel I am God. I am one with God. I am one with the universe. I am the universe. Vibration, frequency, those are what matters. It's rising up the frequency level to where sometimes a human body can't handle it. You know, the frequency can get so high. So over years of, you know, doing meditation, for me, Quadrant 4 is, I love to be there, but I am a Quadrant 1. I like to, you know, material. I love material. So as amazing it is, a Quadrant 4 is a build for me. I love to go there. It helps me build my physical world by connection to the universe. And this is, I have the feeling or the vision of, this is what I want my physical world to look like, my 3D, and then letting go of that and letting the Quadrant 4 bring that to me in the most magical way. And that is a great way to use Quadrant 4. And you may resonate with that. When people say, well, I want to manifest a new car, I want to manifest a new partner. Well, Quadrant 4 is where you go for that manifestation, because it helps you visualize. You can get in the feeling of love. And when you feel love in yourself, then you're only going to portray love or build love or see love outside of you. And that's how your partner shows up, right? That's how you're, you know, or just the love of being on a ski trip. And I don't know how this ski trip's going to happen. I don't have the money to go on this ski trip, but suddenly someone invites you to go because you saw it. So it's bringing the energy of the manifestation. That's where the boots get on the ground, so to speak. And then you trust it to bring it in. It brings it into your Quadrant 1 to your Quadrant 3. Right? So you can experience it. So that's why I love Quadrant 4.
It's the air element. So if we're mapping the 4 elements, the Quadrant 4 would be the air element. So if you are a Libra, Aquarius, or a Gemini, your natural born quadrant is 4. A lot of times people who are natural born Quadrant 4s will struggle with addiction because they have a sense of knowing that this three-dimensional reality isn't the only thing, and so they're searching and seeking for that feeling. They're trying to find that feeling, and a lot of times drugs or alcohol can give you some sense of that euphoria that you know comes natural. So you have a natural knowing that hey, something doesn't seem right when we look at reality only through 1 and 2. Like something doesn't seem right there. It's like you have a knowing, a deep knowing that you can't explain, that is so much broader than what we experience with our senses. But in a culture that is dominant in 2 and 1, you can seem crazy, right? So a lot of schizophrenics are natural born Quadrant 4s because they are literally accessing more information, but they don't have any linear structure to help with that. So what could help schizophrenics is actually implementing a Quadrant 1. What they need to complement all that information that they're getting from the quantum field is some structure so that they can navigate successfully in a 3-dimensional world, but still use their gifts, right? Schizophrenics have gifts. I have read so many studies actually on schizophrenia, and they're actually showing that they actually are accessing information that's not explainable. So they are able to legitimize some of these experiences that schizophrenics are having. It's just they're totally lacking structure.
And you can imagine being a Quadrant 1, dealing with a Quadrant 4 can be extremely difficult because it is like that person doesn't speak your language at all.
Yeah.
You're Quadrant 1, it's by you, right?
Yeah.
And then when you're Quadrant 4, it's happening for you. It's showing up for you.
Yeah.
So again, to understand addicts is to understand Quadrant 4, because an addict, you know, we look at them as they're lower, they're beneath us because they're addicts. They're addicted to whatever the thing is. I actually look at it the opposite. They're trying to connect who they naturally know of themselves. I operate at this frequency. That is the frequency that I need to be in. I can't be at that frequency in this very Quadrant 1 world. So I see parents dealing with kids that are, addicts, is because they don't fit here in this Quadrant 1 culture that we have created over the last 100 years. They're indigo children. They're very high vibration. So they are fish out of water. And when you start to look at them in that way, it helps you understand, oh, I just need to get them back in water. How do I get them back in water? Not with the Quadrant 1 world. Not by you go get a job. That's not going to work.
No.
It's going to push them even further. So it's knowing where they are, knowing where you're coming from, and understanding you both are right, but you both are not going to switch over. You have to slowly try to see each other of where you are each at.
And when you can do that, you can teach each other, right? So the 4 can teach the 1 how to trust more and surrender more and access the mystical more, while the 1 can teach the 4 a little bit more order, a little bit more leadership, a little bit more groundedness in their human. That's what him and I have been able to do. He has taught me so much about Quadrant 1, and I've learned how to balance that and use that in my life while still maintaining. And in fact, my Quadrant 4 came even more online when I accepted that these are my gifts. I'm not a weirdo, right? That was always like, I am a weirdo. But accepting that part of myself instead of trying to fit in a mold that didn't come natural to me, right?
Right. Well, knowing that you live in a Quadrant 1 culture, and a Quadrant 4 is not going to necessarily fit into that culture. So it has to find its own culture.
That's right.
So that's usually what happens. Like, healing happens. Healing happens in Quadrant 4 because that's when you are connecting to not the body, you're connecting to the energy of the universe, right? And you are bringing in light. Well, that can activate the shadow of Quadrant 1 and 2, and it can be very uncomfortable. So you hear people, well, I'm in an awakening. I'm going through the awakening stage. Well, what that means is they have turn the switch on to Quadrant 4, and now all the knowledge that is coming to them, that they are that knowledge because you are the universe, you are the God. Now that's coming online, and it's bringing light to all the shadow that is in 1 and 2, which can be really hard to navigate, especially by yourself. So that's what we see a lot of, is people going through that awakening process. Help me make sense of all this. And really, that's what the Quadrant Theory is really helping you. Quadrant 4 is the healing quadrant. That is where you go to find out who you really are, because that is who you really are.
So biologically, what's actually happening, so this is the flow stage and the flow cycle, and they've done tons of studies of the chemicals that are being released in your brain and your body when in these heightened states. So when they started studying flow, they thought it was the only people that could access flow were like these highly religious, highly spiritual people that have been, monks meditating or priests. They thought that they were only specific. Well, obviously now that they've discovered that it's anyone that can reach these states. However, why we talk about balance is because your body's releasing a massive amount of dopamine, serotonin, endorphins, which all sound amazing, right? You want all of those chemicals to be released. Those are the feel-good chemicals. You're going to chase that feeling. It happened to us when we were going to Dr. Joe Dispenza retreats all the time. We were chasing that mystical, man.
Yes.
We were going to every
Yes.
retreat. We were like, we want to be there. That's
Yes.
where we want to be.
Yes.
It is biologically very expensive for your body. Your body, just like it can't stay in adrenaline and cortisol in one all the time, it can't stay in that dopamine, serotonin, endorphins at a high level all the time. You have to come down from that too. So you want to create balance. You don't want to be chasing that and want to be stuck there, because the higher you go up, the further you're going to come down into quadrant 2, into recovery. So remember that it's about balance. So with that said, I'm just going to go through quickly some symptoms of low balance so you can know, oh shit, I need to turn the volume up on my quadrant 4. So that would be constant fight or flight, feeling responsible for everything and everyone around you. In other words, you're like, I have to take care of everything and everyone. You have no connection with something outside of you, the universe, God, whatever you fill in the blank for that. Focused on yourself most of the time, so very ego driven instead of looking at the whole collective. Unfulfilled, sense of disconnection. This is a really big one. Sense of disconnection from life, nature, people. So you just feel really disconnected. Lack of clarity. So if you're experiencing a big lack of clarity, clarity is going to come in your quadrant 4, and you don't have any mystical experiences. So you don't have any access. We've had people that had to do like 10 ketamine therapy sessions just to finally break that veil and have some sort of a mystical experience. So if you're not having any of those, it's probably because you have a really thick veil in between the left side and the right side. So it's hard for you to access that. So that's symptoms of low volume. As we said, there's the other end where you're way high in quadrant 4. This can mean mental disorders, psychosis. This can happen. Lack of forward motion in your life. A lot of times natural born quadrant 4s are perfectionists. They can think of the idea because they exist in the mental plane, but then they can lack actually moving forward with that, and so they don't have any forward motion. They're stuck in the mental plane. If you think of the universe, like if the all is mind, everything's the mind of God. Isn't that funny? I say he. Why I never say God is.
Everyone knows that God is a man.
It needed to split in duality to have forward motion in order to experience all of the ideas in the mind of God. I can have all the ideas, but if I can't experience them, what's the point? To experience love, I have to have him and I have to have me, right? So you can get caught in that mental plane, in other words, disengaged from life. Lack of money, because you really don't operate in that world, so you can have a really hard time with money, struggling with money issues. Disengaged, hard time functioning day-to-day process, and lacks organization. So those can be too high. Also just sort of like a spiritual ego, to where you're like, oh, you can see non-dualism, the teaching of non-dualism here, where they're like, who cares about, it's just the 3D is an illusion, it doesn't matter, don't go there, just stay, don't use your mind, just stay in this place all the time, which totally negates the human experience. And we have the human experience so that we can experience how to evolve, how to love, how to, all of these lessons.
Color. So you can,
exactly.
a steak.
Exactly.
I mean, that's why
None
we're
of those
here.
exist in a
It doesn't.
world.
It's amazing to be there. It's the absolutely most amazing thing ever to feel that connection, that love. But again, you can't order a steak there. You can't taste a steak there. You can't ski down a mountain there. You're in the
song.
experience instead of feeling just the love. It's pulling it all together. That's why we say coming to this human plane is the greatest possible gift, no matter what you're dealing with. And sometimes when you're dealing with hard things, it's really hard to see that, oh my God, I just want to get out of this. You came here because where you come from, you wanted to experience what pain was, because it's an emotion and you can see it in front of you, right? That's empathy. I want to experience empathy. I can't, when I'm all in this love and everything that I
is imperfection.
I'm in connection with is imperfection. I can't see what empathy feels like. I want to experience that. So when you experience someone going through, some of these natural disasters, a hurricane, a flood, oh, these people are losing their homes, you can have empathy for them. That's why you came here. You also came here to eat a steak, or you came here to eat a really good dessert, or paint a picture, or to hear a song. Yes, snuggle with a dog.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and as he said, the other really good indicator of maybe your volume's too high in Quadrant 4 is lack of compassion, because you're like, and lack of emotions.
Yes.
So emotions won't come natural to you. You'll be like, oh, who cares about that, right? Because you're used to being in that other space. But emotions is what makes the human experience so rich. It's what allows you to have the human experience is emotion. So,
and if you have a problem with, like, capitalism and it's just because, money, all those people care about is money because they're quadrant ones, they're entrepreneurs, and you can't see that. Just as them looking at you, how can they not care about making money? That's again, we're so divided in that. And parents and children especially,
spouses, friends, neighbors,
really can be difficult for a relationship. And when we try to change addicts' behavior, but when we understand addicts' behavior, then we can help maneuver them, right? To get them out of the addiction. Because all that means is what that addict is locked in the Quadrant 4 tank. They're just locked in there. There's no 1 in there. There's no 3 in there. There's no 2 in there. Might have some 2 in there. But it locks them in there. That's where they went to escape all those others. So it's about letting them out of that cage. And you just don't throw the lid open and say, come on out. They're not going to. It's little by little. It's like coming out of the darkness for a week and staring into the sun. You're not going to be able to do it. It takes little by little by little by little.
Yeah, love that. Such a great explanation. So if you find yourself really low in Quadrant 4 and you really want to be able to activate it more and access it more and build that neural network so that you have more balance in Quadrant 4, some activities include meditation. Obviously is going to be the biggest one. Any kind of a meditation practice. I don't care if you're doing it 15 minutes, an hour. There are feels like a bajillion different meditation techniques out there. Pick one that resonates with you. If it resonates, do it.
It can be a guided meditation. It can be a musical meditation. It can be TM where there's no music, no sound. It's sitting quiet so your mind can start to coast. It can just coast and you're going to have thoughts. It's okay. Again, meditation, there's no judgment on meditation. It's meditation. I don't care if you lay down on the couch with headphones on. I used to do that. I used to wear like heavy operator headphones. So no music in them, just so I could get silence in my head.
That's right. That's the whole point.
Yes.
Is silence, trying to silence the thoughts, or more than that, just learning to let them pass.
Yes.
You're not
being
attaching
okay with
to
it.
any of them. You're just letting them pass, and you're connecting with who you really are.
Yes.
That's what you're doing in meditation. So meditation is going to be big. Crystals, any kind of crystals or tarot cards, anything like that where you're working intuitively with different elements and aspects of a metaphysical world. That's what Quadrant 4 is. It's the metaphysical, it's the quantum. So any exercise that you can work with that, intuitive exercises, anything like that. Spiritual music, so any kind of music that's spiritual in nature. Listening to spiritual podcasts. I know for me, when I listen to them, I can feel the energy changing in my body. The connection was the word I was thinking of. Listening to Abraham Hicks. If you don't know who Abraham Hicks is, I recommend you look her up. She's a channel, but she's very simple, short videos, and it's just a really good way to get you out of all the other stuff and make it very simple. So she's a really easy way to access that. And the open focus technique. So this is a technique created by Les Fimi. We teach it within our course, teach people how to access these styles of paying attention. But open focus, the immersive style of attention, is learning to completely get lost in something. So training your brain in open focus, specifically immersive style of paying attention, will help you with that. So those are some ways that you can actually activate this Quadrant 4. And if you're a natural born Quadrant 1, but your child is a natural born Quadrant 4, you can use those exercises for your child
big time
to stimulate that. But then, like he said, I love how he said, to slowly teach them. I had to slowly teach myself Quadrant 1 and to feel comfortable in that, because it didn't come natural. Now it can get turned on and get way too turned on. So it's always balance. It's always learning how to balance. And in our class, in our course, we help you create personalized maps. So they are unique and personalized to you so that you know and you become really, really familiar with, holy shit, been stuck in 4 too long, or holy moly, I am doing 1 activities nonstop. I'm starting to feel overwhelmed. I'm starting to feel disconnected. What can I do to get me back in 3 and 4? So it's a process. We walk you through a process, a map, so that you know you have these tools specific to you so you can create balance throughout all 4, really. It's what we do in the 12 weeks. So I'll include information in the description, links. I'll include our email so that you can schedule a Zoom call with us or a phone call so that we can talk to you about it in more depth, tell you how it may be able to help you if you find yourself stuck in any of these loops. A lot of times we've had so far a lot of natural born quadrant 1 people because they have a hard time moving over. They've maybe already had a spiritual awakening, or they have a spiritual practice, but they have a really hard time going there, and they want to implement it and integrate it more in their life. Integrating their life into their new awakening. Yeah. That is a big, big struggle. That's what we see a lot of. Yes. So if you're one of those people, reach out. Like I said, we'll have all the info in the description. Our next class doesn't start until January 24th. However, we are doing a 4-week mini series. It'll give you a small taste into what these are. And we'll put all that information in the link below. So let us know if this helped you. And you know what to do. You like, subscribe, and listen, comment below. Let us know, are you a Quadrant 4? Do you know a Quadrant 4? Is it difficult to deal with a Quadrant 4? That's good. Let us know in the description if we can help you. And next. All right, we'll see you next week. Quadrant 2.